Welcome back to another episode of Excuse My Grandma. It's Kim and my co-host.
My Gail.
So, Grandma, you have been on your European travels.
Kimberly, I had a week that will go down in history. First of all, what did you do this week? Anything exciting, or you just want to hear about my trip?
I cried that you weren't here.
Oh, all right. Well, that probably was correct. It's always worth a good cry when I leave. But I have to tell you, firstly, I failed on my wheelie experience. All those who tried to help me pack. I did the final wheelie packing the day before I left, and I couldn't close it. So I had to go to one size up, which immediately made me check the bag. So I checked the bag, which was fine. I had the little tracker in the bag, and it said my address was wrong. As soon as every place I went, the little tracker gave me the wrong information. So I was having a nervous breakdown. But I did get the bag at the other end of De Gaulle. Everything was fine. Paris was absolutely jammed. Every American, because I guess there are art fairs and there are terrific art shows in the fall, I just have so much pent-up emotion, Kim, from not traveling.
Yeah.
That I think this summer and certainly in the fall, it's exploded. They can't say that the airlines aren't full. I don't want to hear them saying that they've got any empty seats. They had no empty seats on my entire big plane. So got into the hotel. They were very nice. Of course, no rooms are ready because you arrive at 11 o'clock, so you're standing around a lobby with your suitcase. But you know what? It was fine. I went and had a little light breakfast in the hotel, and then I actually took a walk on Avenue Montown, which is beautiful. You remember where all the little boutiques are, and you can.
It's been so long since I've been in Paris.
Oh, well, you can see the Eiffel Tower actually from the end of the street. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. It's such a beautiful city.
Yeah.
And so that was really nice. And I had dinner with friends the first 2 nights. They were really great. And walked around. I went to a wonderful the new Maritime Museum, which is just opened the last 2 years. So none of us have seen any of this stuff because it was really under construction during COVID. So we went to that. Architecturally, it's a treasure. And what else did I do that day? I had tickets to go into Art Basel. It was a madhouse, and I'm not buying art. I just like to see what the people are, representing.
Did you ever think
galleries.
about collecting?
And whatever Poppy and I collected over the last 59 years was the worst.
Okay.
We thought we were in Soho buying things at these galleries in the 70s. Everybody else bought the good stuff. We bought the one artist that was terrible. It was really, the art in Art Basel is always contemporary, and it's the new things that are being shown.
Mm-hmm.
So that
is it the same as in Miami?
It's exactly the same, and I think they do it in Zurich as well. And they do it all over the world in different countries. I'm sure they do it in Hong Kong. They do it wherever the money is. They follow the money, and everything is very expensive. The dollar, by the way, was very good all over the place.
Right.
If there's anything to buy, it's the same stuff. It's like one world. The same stores, the same merchandise. It was all right.
Well, I'm going to Madrid soonish because my brother is abroad there, and so me and my parents are going to visit him. But I feel like they could have more boutique-y stores, maybe.
Well, they have boutique stores, and they have a lot of beautiful leather stores in Madrid where you're going.
I've never been. I don't know.
So and I have to say, along those same lines, he met me. Your brother met me in Paris. We had a great time. We ate our way through the 3 days that he was there. Actually, he was only there 2.5 days. Yeah, he loves food. So we had big meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He laughed because I made him go back to the Louis Vuitton Foundation again because there was a show I wanted to see on Monet. And every time I've taken him to Paris a few times, every time we end up going to the same museum, he says, "Isn't there another museum to see?"
Well, that's like I've been to Paris 3 times, I think, and I've never been to the top of the Eiffel Tower. There's always something that goes wrong.
Well, don't you remember you were going to walk up?
Well, when I went with you and Poppy, peak.
Right, and you got sick from the height.
Yeah, but we were only like a few floors up, and I started puking over the edge.
You didn't do well. So,
So
there was
strange.
No sense
It's
going
so
to the
unlike
height.
me. I don't know.
Well, because you look down.
I get
and
motion sickness, so
motion
maybe I don't
sickness.
know.
Going up the stairs, you barely made it to the third floor.
Yeah, and then the other time I'm trying to think. One time I think we didn't even try to go up. We just went to the tower and like looked up at it.
Exactly.
And then another time, I got in the elevator, and then for
you
some
have to wait on lines to go in that elevator.
Such a long line. We got in, and for some reason, like, it didn't take us all the way up, and then it already started going down, and I was like, oh, forget it. So, like, I don't know, maybe the fourth time's the charm and something special will happen.
Next time you go, you'll get to the top because it's a beautiful place to have a drink upstairs. So that was the end of Paris. I took a train with some friends then and went to London, where I was on a birthday trip with some girlfriends, and we just had a terrific time. We had fabulous galleries that we went to, and we met the artists. No news on the girls. Everybody got along. There were always a few glitches, as you know. There were always some that have complained about their rooms and didn't like the food. But
you're just so easy.
Well, I'm easy on the food area because I really don't care. A lot of people, when you travel, they have very strict dietary restrictions. And sometimes I think those people really can't travel anymore because it's hard. I mean, you know, you can't keep certain spices out of French food. It just isn't going to happen. But it was great fun, and we saw wonderful things in London.
Well, I'm glad you had a good time, and now
we had fun.
You're back in New York
now
with
I have
me.
jet lag. Now I have jet lag, and
until you're here until you go to Florida.
Yeah, well, we'll have a lot of fun while we're back in the city.
That's the question everybody always asks me.
We still have Halloween, don't forget.
Yes, that's true. There's still some time here. People always ask me, what are you going to do this winter? Are you going to be in Florida or New York? What are you going to do with your grandma?
You can do a little bit of both. I'm planning to come up. You'll come down.
Yeah.
We'll figure out our schedule.
Long distance relationship.
Yeah, we have a long distance relationship, but it doesn't work unless you're really together. So we'll make the effort to be together at least 2 weeks out of the month.
Yeah. Wait, maybe we should talk about long distance dating as our dating topic.
Oh, all right.
Should you? I mean, first of all, it's hard, right?
Hard.
So
I think you have to be really committed to one another to have a long distance relationship because it really, the phone doesn't work the same way as being together.
Yeah. But I do have some friends who have started dating people and they're not even like boyfriend, girlfriend yet, but they like are visiting each other. Like,
well, if you can visit, and and if it isn't like going, it's hard. Going from
cross
the East
country,
Coast to the West Coast. I mean, you can occasionally do that, but not only is it expensive, but it takes a long time to get there. Going on airplanes now is not like it used to be.
Yeah,
it's very stressful. You need to be at airports a couple of hours before takeoff. Nothing works. Everything is always delayed, and so I give credit to people who do make the effort. It is hard. If it works, it's wonderful. And then eventually one of you has to pick a city where you're both going to live. That becomes the issue. If both of you have very good jobs in different cities, you really, it's a conundrum.
Yeah, that's true. Like if you don't think that you'll be transferred somewhere and you both feel like it's your permanent place. But I feel like a lot of people now are like kind of go back and forth or remote and can be more flexible.
Well, that's fine as long as you don't get married and have a family.
Yeah, then
once you've made the major commitment, then one of you has to give, and that's what happens in life. You can't have if you're in love, you figure it out and it works.
Yeah,
that's all.
If you're visiting a guy or girl who isn't your boyfriend or girlfriend, what should your expectations be for the weekend?
I think if you're visiting somebody that you know, and you certainly have to like them if you're going to visit them for a weekend, I think you should just go and enjoy each other's company and do things in their area that they, that they do and that they maybe want to share with you as well. There are always restaurants in every area. There are always a movie that are, unless you're living in the middle of the desert, there's always some kind of community activities that are going on, and it's fun to be part of it. And also, I think it's just nice to have a different experience of a different city.
Right.
With
But what's
somebody.
like the best case and the worst case scenario if someone's teetering?
I think the worst scenario is you realize that this is not really a good friendship or a good relationship, and it should end. Or the best scenario is that you really like each other and have to make a commitment, like you say, a long
Do you have
distance.
to make a commitment after that one time?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you've been dating for a year.
Right.
But if it's a fifth or sixth date and somebody is out of town and says, I'd love you to come up and visit me, and you want to do it because you like them, I think that shouldn't be the end of it. It's just the beginning of the start of a relationship.
Totally. But again, it is different. Like if it's the first or the second time you've ever spent with someone, I wouldn't go and spend an entire weekend with them because that could potentially be dangerous if you don't know them.
Oh, I don't think I would go on a third date with somebody to a strange city.
Yeah, people do it. I know plenty of people.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? The chances are the relationship will be over by Sunday.
Yeah, you have to see what it's like first. I think more or less in the same place, and then you can start doing the long distance thing. But it's hard to start something off.
Correct.
Long
and certainly there's a sleep commitment involved. So
True.
if you're on a third date and
you're
haven't
having
slept
sex with them if you
haven't-
are sleeping over.
Well, that's correct.
Yeah, right.
And if you haven't done it on the third, if this is a very recent dating situation, I don't think I would do that.
Yeah, such a good point. Same thing with going on a trip with someone like early on.
Early on, I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. It's one thing if you're friends and you're going on a trip and you just want to, you're good companions and
Right.
have common interests. But if it's a date, going on a trip is too hard unless you know each other.
Okay, should we answer some listener questions?
Sure.
Has your relationship with your daughter and granddaughter always been so seamless?
Yes. Yes and yes. My daughter was always terrific. I never had any issues. We really are very copacetic with each other. And your mom raised a beautiful daughter, and I've enjoyed being with her. So, no, very happy. No problems. And I also have other grandchildren that I love being with. We're very fortunate that we like each other as a family.
Does grandma ever wear stilettos?
I used to. I don't anymore. I can't balance myself properly, and
It's not worth
I'll
it.
wear like a 2-inch heel at night if I'm wearing a dress or a pair of dressy pants. But real heels, which I used to love when I was in my 20s, I mean they were really high heels. They must have been 4 or 5 inches. I can't wear anymore. Matter of fact, I tried after COVID. I almost forgot how to walk in heels, and my husband said, "Why are you
A lot of
walking
people
like
felt
that?"
like that.
And first or second time that I put on heels, I said, "Oh my gosh, I can't even balance myself." So I would suggest people who are not used to it after a long hibernation the last 2 years, be very careful when you're putting on your heels now.
Should a 40-year-old woman date a man 20 years her senior?
Absolutely. I don't think it matters. I think unless she hasn't, does she have children? Is she looking for is she looking to have a family? I wonder.
I don't know.
Well, if you're 40 years old and you're going out with a 60-year-old and you've been married already, I think it's fine. If you're 40 years old and think you want to have a family and this is a relationship you're cultivating for that end, I would say that's a big age difference, and you better make sure the gentleman wants to have children or adopt children, whatever.
What's your favorite Jewish holiday and why?
I think my favorite Jewish holiday is Passover. I love the idea of having spring, and it's a new season, and I happen to love everything matzah. So all the matzah products that nobody else loves, I love it. So I love matzah brie. I love chocolate-covered matzah.
Yeah.
I love anything that you have matzah in.
It's a good one.
Matzo ball soup. There isn't a thing that I don't like.
Yeah. Yom Kippur is both my favorite and my least favorite because fasting is hard.
Well, it is hard.
But the breakfast for dinner, I dream about.
Yeah, well,
so.
that's a one-time event, and I don't think any of us could eat that way after that. After not having fasted, I think you need to fast to eat all that food.
Yeah. A lot of requests for you to adopt them as their own because people are like, I don't have grandparents.
Well, anybody that wants to have me as a grandma, just text Kim and we'll answer all your questions. I don't think I can emotionally take on everybody.
I'm already killing you.
But I think I'm almost worn out. But keep asking questions. We're more than delighted to answer you.
Mhm.
Our movie of the week this week, Kimmy, I have a suggestion.
You do?
I do it. I never have answers for this, but I think it should be Peter Sellers, the Inspector Clouseau, either the Pink Panther or any of his movies. After being in Paris for a week this fall, I started to laugh because I kept thinking of him in his raincoat running around Paris. If you want
So
a
I've
good
only
laugh,
seen the Pink Panther that was like with Steve Martin later, not the classic
have to see
1963.
right, you have to see the Peter Sellers ones. They were so hysterical. Steve Martin's are good too, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny. I felt at home, and I would recommend those movies just to laugh, just to sit home, laugh, and enjoy.
Okay, another great episode of Excuse My Grandma. Follow us at Excuse My Grandma on Instagram and TikTok. And if you have any more questions for the podcast, feel free to DM me on Instagram. And we'll see you next week.